objects. In these exercises, we will insert symbols in a report template that control the selection and output of data in a report. Let us first create a new report template version. We will use the same template name as in previous exercises, but we will create a new version. We can save the report template header. And we get a message at the bottom of the screen stating that the data has been saved. We can now go in the hit list and see that we have a template with version 6 and status start of work. Before we start editing the report template, we need to adjust the generation variant to the new version. So let's go to the generation variant transaction. And let's change the template version to 06 and save the generation variant. Now we can go and edit the report template. In the report template hit list, we select the template and click on the document button. And we can start editing the report template. In the first exercise, we will insert a symbol for the characteristic hazard symbol. We will select as an expansion parameter the phrase code instead of the phrase text. Let me first put a heading for this first exercise. The characteristic hazard symbol is under the specification symbol folder. In the property tree. And can be found under the folder Regulations, Labeling, Europe, and under Value Assignment Type, Labeling EU. So we can select the symbol key for hazard symbol, and in the parameter window below, the default settings are provided. Since this is a phrase characteristic, the default expansion mode is GPC, and the expansion parameter is set to phrase. We will change the expansion parameter to code. This way, the code provided in the phrase will be expanded in the report. We can now insert the symbol into the report template. Let's do a test, a syntax check. And we get the error, the symbol type does not have a main repeating group. So we select the error message, click on Go To, which highlights the symbol in the report template, and in the property tree, we click on the value assignment type, and on the repeating group tab, the repeating group settings are automatically provided. We can then insert the repeating group symbol in the report template. Let's perform a syntax check. We get no errors. And let's save the report. Let's create a test report by clicking on the Start Preview button on the toolbar. Okay, we need to specify default specification and generation variant in the WWI settings. Once we enter the generation variant and the specification on the preview tab, we can save it. And now let's create the test report. Now on the dialog box, the specification and generation variant are entered automatically. And let's display the report. we see that the symbol was expanded in the report and that the code of the phrase is displayed instead of the phrase text. Let's toggle back to the report template. Let's take a look at the characteristic hazard symbol in the test specification. So let's start another session. And let's go to the edit specification transaction CG02. And let's perform a search for the test specification. And we will search for the hazard symbol in the property tree. Hazard symbol is under folder regulations, labeling, Europe, and belongs to the value assignment type labeling EU. So let's double click on this value assignment type. And we see that labeling EU has two instances for its value assignment. Let's take a look at the usage of the first instance. The usage of the first instance has a rating of public and a validity area of EU for European Union. In our generation variant, we specified a validity area of Great Britain, and Great Britain is part of the European Union, so this value assignment will be selected when a report is executed for this specification. If we take a look at the second instance and look at the usage, the rating is public and the validity areas are Australia and Taiwan, so this instance would not be accessed when running a report. So let's insert a second instance with usage reg EU and add some additional phrases to the hazard symbol characteristic. First, let's go into edit mode and create a new instance. The instance number is automatically set to 3. On the value assignment, we can see the characteristic hazard symbol. And for the third instance, we will add additional phrases. We will add the phrase toxic, highly flammable, and dangerous for the environment. Notice the characters before the colon in the phrase text. These characters are the phrase code. In our template, we are not printing the phrase text, but the phrase code. So T, F, and N will appear on the test report. If we look at the first instance, at the phrase assigned to Azure symbol, we see that the phrase code being displayed on the report will be XN. Now we need to set a usage for this new instance. We will set the usage to European Union. We could have left the validity to RegWorld, that's everybody, but we'll choose EU. And let's save the data in the specification. And leave the transaction. Let's go back to the report template session. And let's create a test report. Okay, we see that it only displayed one phrase code from the new instance. So let's go back to the report template and see what's missing. If we select the symbol for hazard symbol and bring it back to the parameter window by clicking on Edit Object from Template, we see that the setting for multiple value assignment was not set. So we need to set the setting for characteristic Azure symbol to select all value assignments. To reflect the new syntax in the report template, we can select the symbol in the report template, and in the parameter window, click on the icon Edit WWI Object in Template. And now the multiple value assignment setting appears in the template. Let me set the paragraph mark after the symbol to hidden. Let's check the template and create a test report. Now we see that the data for hazard parameter for each instance of the value assignment type label EU appears on the same line. So XN belongs to the first instance, and the remaining data belongs to the second instance of label EU for hazard material. And the instance data is not separated. So let's go back to the template. If you wanted to separate the instances, you could unhide the paragraph mark, create a test report, and each instance would appear on a separate line. Let's toggle back. For now, let's hide the paragraph mark. And let's set it to another color than black to let us know that it's hidden. And now we can insert a descriptor for the hazard symbol data. The descriptor starts with warning symbol. Let's insert that descriptor in the report template. Let's add a colon and a space after the descriptor, and let's make it visible. So we will unhide the colon and space, and we'll change the color to black. And let's underline the descriptor. Let's check the template. Create a test report. And here we have the descriptor followed by the instance data. It didn't underline the descriptor, so let me go back. Okay, so now we have a descriptor and the data for the two instances of label EU for hazard symbol. Let's toggle back to the report template. In the next exercise, we are going to access data from instances individually. So we will access the instance data of label EU first for the first instance and then for the second instance, and display data of belonging to the hazard symbol characteristic. So let me put a header for this exercise. First, let's insert a heading for the first record. And a heading for the second record. We will add the descriptor, warning symbol, again make it underlined, we will insert the hazard symbol, we will select the symbol for hazard symbol and surround it with a repeating group, a master repeating group. For value assignment type label EU, For the value for the repeating group, we will specify to select only the first record. And we will move this change to the report template by selecting the repeating group and clicking on Edit WWI Object in Template. So now we see that the repeating group was updated and we'll only select the first instance. So now we can copy this section and paste it. And for the second data set, we will specify that the repeating group selects only the second record, since we know that for the specification used to create the test report, label EU has two instances. So the first instance will output the data for AZURDUS symbol, and the second instance will output the data for AZURDUS symbol. So let's check the syntax. And test the report. Okay, we have the first instance did not, yes, the first instance contains the data of hazard symbol for the first instance, and here we see the data of the second instance for hazard symbol. We just need to add the descriptor. So let's go back. We will just copy the descriptor and paste it. Let's perform a syntax check. Test the template. And now we see the first instance value of hazard symbol and the second instance values for hazard symbol. So this is an example of accessing instances on separately.